Okay, I'm restarting a post because I don't know what happened, if it was the storage that switched or I didn't press the button properly or what. But I'm restarting it with what would have been the ending if I had done it properly the first time. So I watched this one today, okay? And as I said here, in the following video link, which I share with you here, I attempt to teach my own case studies, Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, a simple lesson in responsibility and accountability. I predict a certain outcome and I await to see if HSD is a good indicator for studying the failures within the human condition, which is accelerated by these two individuals. And the link is here. Now, what I wanted to say about this test here is I put it on their comments of all the videos, and some of them must be under what is their ownership, meaning they get some sort of profit from it. Might be totally managed by somebody else that they've never met in person, but it's still, if it is, it still shows the ultimate responsibility of their actions still rests on them. It's their own brand, let's say, right? So it's a point that I'm making in relation to, hey, I'm putting this comment here that challenges you to pay attention to the comments because it's harmful to people in these ways, to the human condition. So, of course, HSD would make it that, it would be unsuccessful. If it's successful, if they actually film a video and bring it to my attention, that they actually tell people, whether it's the ones they own or don't own, that, they should kind of be kind to each other, especially when they don't seem to be understanding the point of the video when they criticize each other in unfair and cruel way, right? Violent communication ways. So, somebody answered here. Oh yeah, this person just got weird at the end, I remember. But I just want to find my other comment here, and then we'll go back to the other one that I wanted to show you. If my other one is still here. Oh yeah, this is the one. Okay, so this is a point that, let's say Joe Rogan or Jordan B. Peterson contacted me, and when they contact me, it'll be the first contact between us directly, right? So, of course, that means they will set the pace. And if they set the pace, whether in a kind or unkind way, I could still respond again by setting my own pace. And I'm telling you, the pace I would set would be to give them a chance here to collaborate with me because, the responsibility is too great to have, battles of egos, right? Because too many people are impacted and it has too big of an impact on the human condition. If I was sitting in this audience when I was in my 20s, I would have quickly decided with what is shown in this video that Jordan B. Peterson was my favorite intellectual speaker. However, I am now in my 50s and having sampled many intellectual speakers in person over time, such as David Suzuki, Noam Chomsky, Lawrence Krauss, and others, I find Peterson to be a hard one to tolerate without having to clarify his approach, style, methods, memetics, myself, clarify it myself, meant to facilitate the assimilation of ideas and or knowledge. That was their intention. The short answer would be that he does not, Jordan, develop his own questions or curiosity of mind on these questions as much as he overdevelops his own answers, his ego mind. To me, he now largely undermines the evolution of critical thinking. And by the way, I'm not saying these other three are perfect. And out of the other three, I would put Noam Chomsky as my favorite. David Suzuki, I don't know how much he's changed over time. But I would still put him second. Lawrence Krauss, big ego as well, but not in the same way as Jordan Peterson. And not somebody I would necessarily trust as a role model, this person. By the way, I did not disagree with anything presented in this particular video regarding the wisdom that he wished to pass on. However, even this video shows, while also making him look awesome, much about his own incongruences, such as his choice of language for delivering this important message. As much as he has a lot of words and knows how to define them, there are ways that he chooses a word. For example, when he says you, like a lot of people do, but he means, the average person would respond this way, but he's talking to an audience member that asked a question, and he says, that's a way, it's a kind of very subtle kind of form of, violent communication, as others would say. I try to be a bit more, objective if I talk about, let's say, rules of humanics, for example, patterns of, action and reactions in behaviors. All right. So where was I here? Language. In essence, his own personal memetics are too costly as compared to his good intentions. This would be much less dangerous to the human condition if there was no such thing as the internet. But because there's the internet and it accelerates the dumbness of people, he's very dangerous. Professor Marty, indeed, I seem to be guided by my own sentience and sapience to always be trying to use the internet myself, but so as to rebalance this equation that resonates from him so that his good intentions could win out one day when his final legacy is concluded. Okay, it looks like my recording is going okay right now. Okay, so, man, the ads are annoying people. I'm glad I don't have these kind of ads popping up. I have banner ads that I'm still putting pressure on YouTube to actually be resolving instead of forcing me to do something or buy something, because it's their issue. But it's an example, like if you look at some of the ads on CBC News or things that may or may not be owned by Jordan or Joe, but that are actually, their brand, their presence, and they kind of allow it, whether they know about it or not, by not kind of saying, hey, please do not, if you're a fan of ours, please do not manipulate what we're saying in a clip that's trimmed somewhere and fortify it for your opinion using my name. To my knowledge, nobody's done that with me so far, but I mean, I'm an unknown, which makes it, I'm somebody who won't allow ads to become famous and a celebrity, and therefore less likely to have that done to. But anyways, this video here, that's the topic. You can look it up. Here's what I wrote. Since when did discouraging and blocking, oh my God, I've got a lot of evidence about this, of free life skills lessons like Saskatchewan New Start models. So I'm sure I'm write this a lot of time now, so people, if they make a mistake later when we're in a conversation and I say we're not talking about the same thing when I said life skills lessons, and you should have looked up what was in the brackets, as well as free volunteer counseling, which I've done many times in the past and been trained to, and have reference letters for, become an innovative form of treatment for mental illness and addictions. So blocking life skills and blocking free counseling as treatment. Is it because I would certainly invite the other stakeholders to such lessons and sessions, such as those that sell drugs in and out of the pharmaceutical industries, law enforcement, politicians, medical doctors, and those that work in the justice system and can't be bothered to enthusiastically come participate in my free lessons sessions as well? Reminds me of the lady who was in charge of the Peace Center at Selkirk College here. Also refuses free stuff, especially if she has the fear that she'll have to be co-facilitator when, she's trying to get me to prove that I'm competent to do it, when it's really actually her fear of looking incompetent, even though she doesn't know that I would help her not to by preparing her for it. You can really tell how, I mean, you build a building that says Life Skills Center or Peace Center, and you put people like that in charge that don't know what life skills are, or don't know how to create peace, but only how to defend their image or their paycheck. It's, the Anthropocene started way before I was born, right? I've never had a drug addiction myself. I've never been drunk. I do not have a criminal record, and I have earned 3 post-secondary degrees, as well as various other relevant diplomas. So what's wrong with me? Why can't I belong among the people primates? You silly, silly homo communia. Why am I showing this, by the way? And I do screenshots of these things for my Facebook. And Here's another comment I had written. Try criminalizing being a politician instead, as then more problems will eventually be solved by individuals themselves. And I say this because, when they no longer seek to rely on somebody else to solve their problems for them, they're more likely to either give up, which means, they might not be a problem for long, or they might not, have kids that, survive, for very long, or whatever it might be, to keep, facilitating these issues, or they might, decide to become managers of their lives and teach that to their kids and start solving their own problems when they have nobody to blame, because, the people to blame are already in jail. So now what do? They have to start doing their own problem solving. Because the most rampant form of mental illness is the so-called mathematics of economics, which is what's making decisions such as mentioned in this video happen, which reduces human standards at an accelerating pace. Signed, an educated past recovery care worker, Professor Marty. Somebody put 2 on this. I got nothing on this, but I got replies. Let's look at these replies. Okay, I don't know if this is a man or a woman. Okay, so this person, in general, the approach to treating mental illness and addiction can vary depending on the beliefs and priorities of the stakeholders involved. It is possible that some programs may choose to focus on certain methods or exclude certain individuals for various reasons. However, it is also important to consider that everyone's experiences and needs are unique, and different approaches may work better for different individuals. So with this statement, by the way, it would seem like, hey, this person has a somewhat intelligent response, but it seems to suspiciously, be vaguely disagreeing with me, and agreeing with the topic of the politician's choices in the video. So you would say, oh, maybe this is somebody that, would vote for whoever decides to take this approach to, to balance budgets so as to, but at the same time, devolve human standards. And then I say, and if I say this here, TWC, it's because I couldn't find a name for that person on this account. I'm curious about why you chose me for a response such as this. Please explain your choice in this regard. Thank you, Martin. And I say this because in this comment here, you can see I'm not an uneducated person on this topic, and I have a specific opinion. So this is a general lesson about, to each his own kind of thing. So we can't criticize unless we know more, don't know more, except I did criticize, and I do have a different opinion, and I can express why, and why I do so. So then I say, and then they say, do people always do what you tell them to do in your world? Okay, so going from this to this, and I was light here. I'm just saying, I'm curious. So they're going on the defensive. Okay, so they went from this, where they're manufacturing consent on behalf of this video, and then they do this when I don't seem to say, oh, thanks, oh, yeah, no, I know what you mean, no, I totally agree. I didn't say this. I just said, hey, why would you answer in this dumbass way, except I say it nicely, to what I specifically wrote? It's almost like this would be the first copy and paste to other people. Dear news, political commentary and analysis from a progressive democratic socialist point of view. And why do I say this when I still don't have their name? It's because if you look this up, that's a description of their YouTube channel, which, anyways, you go check it out. Wow, you certainly gave up on efficient communication using the English language quickly, which I predict would happen between me and Jordan Peterson in a public debate. You went from a generalized copy and paste type of statement to me, designed to teach that no opinion is better than an opinion. A person who has already written 2 comments that were specific for this post, which gave the illusion of civility as a first impression on his part, or her part. But then you quickly 180'd to a 1-sentence bully impulse stance. So then, am I accurate in assuming that you consume your drugs largely more in the evenings, Western time? Thank you for your comments. And I say this because that true Western Canadian. So, yeah. Well, I mean, if the person really is, well, that's who they really is, right? And the thing is if they are on the West Coast, I wrote this in the evening, it would be the evening for them. So let's look at other things, because I didn't get a response from this one. But I am still looking for what this person wrote, right? So I'm looking at, where's the other one? Because there's a lot more that this person kind of wrote. Just give me a second. Okay, I'm still looking for the other comments. Man, it's hard to keep track of these because if people don't reply, for example, on the same one they're replying to, like the actual person or where the new trend started, like people don't bother even making efforts with this. The person here brought to you by Pfizer. That's not how you spell it, but I wrote sad but funny. Okay, so I was very suspicious about this Western, true Westerner. So I scrolled down just a tiny bit, and this person here said, "Laugh out loud. This is how you get addicted, not treated. BC just thinks it's the new LA." And then let's go back to, okay, that's not where it is. Just give me a second. Still haven't found the comments I'm looking for, but look, good addicts aren't criminals. I decided to respond to that one, super monkey. And then I wrote, maybe not, but they are addicts, and addicts are not fully actualized humans. So don't you especially if they're not even 25 years old before they get addicted. So don't you sometimes get sad about that super monkey? Don't you get sad about that? My best friend in Korea, an actual monkey, as you can see on my own YouTube channel, was totally able to feel this in her heart brain, and she was superior to politicians. And not just because she had more opposable thumbs. Professor Marty, somebody like that, it looks like. Now I say the monkey thing sometimes because, I go right away, and then sometimes I might look after to see if that person's account has a name linked to it. And then I wrote here to somebody else that wrote, where's Tom? Tom, of course they're not. They always use legal means to acquire all their illicit drugs. All those break-ins and muggings and such, well, that is something totally different. Next time you visit BC, please go take a walk down Hastings Street in Vancouver by yourself at night. Now, if you look here, this is not specifically pointed at me, okay? It might be, but it's not, they didn't press reply here, right? But I will do this for the person. That means I replied to them and it used their name. Hello, Tom. I assume that your comment may have been meant to respond to mine, but it's a question, right? Yes, some of my own research into homelessness in Vancouver, while being homeless and pulling my bags with me, provided me with some frightening data evidence against medical service providers, law enforcement, and also the Salvation Army. As for visiting BC, well, I am still here, to my huge chagrin. I am trying to leave, and it is not easy to do so, as I am limited to ethical choices for doing so. As far as nighttime hardships go, well, I am posting a vlog this morning about my own nocturnal experiences. Feel free to check it out if you wish. The title mentions Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson. Thanks, Professor Marty. Anyways, I found it through this method. Still the same video here. So here's to compress, but I am so sorry to hear this. The new LA, mindless living in their pup tents. And I was speaking about being in Vancouver before, and it was interesting because I walked into a hospital late at night when I didn't have a place to stay with my suitcase, but because I'm educated and I had a computer and I asked to do homework after, a social worker saw me from the emergency room, is I had extra benefits by being not a drug addict, but a homeless, because I was obviously educated and I knew how to document stuff. And I said, well, can I just be here, kind of look over my paperwork and sort it out? And if it would have been a different homeless person without the skill sets that I have, let's say as a life skills coach and an investigator researcher, I wouldn't have been able to spend the night in the waiting area of that hospital. It gave me an advantage not to be a drug addict as a homeless person, which was amazing data to collect. And your solution would be, so recognize this, but it's to that person. So, and then that person responds to that person. Let's find mine. But you can see, no, really, your solution would be, and it's not the same person, by the way, that wrote this. So I wrote that please take some life skills, and I wrote to that person, please take some life skills lessons with me and invite all your friends free of charge. Don't knock the maturation process, as it does make life more manageable. And you can see one day ago, without needing drugs, your buddy Marty. And I keep telling you, as I read what he wrote or she wrote to other people, I keep telling you, but you won't, but you choose not to listen. Please take training to become a counselor, as it teaches you listening skills and helps with the maturation process. 2 birds, 1 stone, your buddy Marty. And then that person responds, narcissistic personality disorder is a serious mental illness and needs to be treated. The problem is most people with narcissistic. So okay, I'll read this again because I forgot it's on the other video that didn't work. With narcissistic personality disorder often can't see the problem because in their world they are perfect. In your world, are you perfect? And of course, I say I'm not perfect all the time. By the way, I have a university degree in psychology, the person says. Now, I asked them more about this, okay? That's a highlighted reply, by the way. I don't know if it came in order. Maturing involves growth and development, both physically and mentally. It brings greater awareness and understanding of the world and helps individuals become more independent, responsible, and confident. As a result, people are better equipped to cope with life's challenges and can face them without relying on drugs or other external sources of support. The maturation process may not be easy or always smooth, but it helps to create a stronger and more resilient self that can stand up to whatever life throws at them. So that's their advice to me, okay? It's to me, except that, their response shows, and my response shows, well, who should make more effort in that regard. Okay, this one is to me. How well has incarceration worked to stop drug use again? And then I had to reply, hello, and again, I didn't know their name based on that. Not certain how your comment may or may not be linked to me, but thanks for posting and commenting. Anyways. Okay, just hold on. Okay, I can't find any more from that person to me. So, the last time I kind of challenged them in certain ways that were still kind of not aggressive, but that kind of said, okay, when will you show me your true colors? Oh, I think I did ask that person what the university degree in psychology specifically was and from where, and they didn't answer. Let me try to find that. Okay, if I find it again, I'll post about it. But I got to say that CBC News, like for example, that there's 3.3. So that's 1,000, that K, okay? M is million. And then there's only even 52 likes is suspicious because most people would have a dislike. Now, if that person looks in their account under their YouTube videos, they would see the percentage of liked and not liked. And me, I can also see that 88 comments is extremely unlikely for how many this has been viewed. So it tells me that whoever decides to pick and choose what to keep or delete as comments in their manufacturing of consent for this channel is not necessarily good at it. But I mean, they can not be good at it because I'm pretty sure these guys don't monitor too much after, a short probation period. But of course would use that person as a scapegoat, if eventually another news channel picks up something said here, right? So that's kind of the way it is. So I believe maybe those comments were deleted at that time. I didn't delete mine, and I don't think the Western guy or girl would be able to unless they are, linked to this account in some way. And this account, by the way, we can go see what it is. And it is here. And that's how many views. By the way, unless extraterrestrials contact me directly, I'll never get that many views on my channel for people to learn about me. And this is what it says. As Canada's National Public News and Information Service, the CBC is committed to a set of values that include accuracy, fairness, balance, impartiality, and integrity. since the 1930s. Oh my God. Now you think I'm narcissistic. Go see what I put on about, and I say, in case I'm wrong at some point. A little bit sarcastic the way I say it, but in case I'm wrong. These guys are giving themselves a medal. Since the 1930s, CBC News Service has kept Canadians at home and abroad informed about their communities, their country, and the world. CBC Radio-Canada is the country's largest news organization, employing several hundred journalists in Canada and around the globe. Our stories appear on CBC Television, CBC Radio, the CBC News Network, cbcnews.ca, and other digital platforms. So accuracy, fairness, balance, impartiality, and integrity. That's their promise, and you